So what we did here, guys, was we took the actual breakout of the all-time high. Here's previous day's high right here. We got into contracts just above previous day's high in an attempt to get in on the breakout of the opening range. And we're right there. We're right at the bottom. Two contracts. That's a great risk for two contracts. That's a great risk for two contracts. Right there, right below the opening range, provided that this, we've got until 9:45, right? Now, it would be awesome if this thing just took off and hit that ADR checkpoint, in which case, oof, we better lock in some profits there, right? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, so it did. If this continues to break up, that's great because now we've got this rally base rally going on here, and we're right below the structure of this 15-minute candle, which is where we want to be. All right, so it looks like the gamble is paying off so far. It looks like it, yeah, just broke above that previous candle. Let's take a look. Put on the old magnet, lock into that. Yeah, it just broke above that, but we want to see a nice break above, close above. We always want to see a break above, close above for better confirmation there. We definitely do not want this 15-minute candle to completely come down to here and reverse. We do not want that. Right at this point right here is where this candle would start to become a down candle and bearish. We don't want that. We do not want to see something like this again. We want to see, so here's where all sellers came in right here. So we just broke through it. We need to break above, close above this, which means buyers outperformed the sellers or outweighed the sellers there. There we go. Very strong momentum to the upside on CCI. I love that the 3-hour chart is cycling up. That indicates an impulse mode or impulse phase, right? Downward cycle in an upward trend, right? This is uptrend, and this is a down cycle. That's the corrective move in the uptrend. It ended, and now we're back into the impulse phase, right? Correction phase, impulse phase. And here, correction phase, small impulse up, small correction down, impulse phase up. Correction phase down, impulse up. So we're in that impulse phase now. Wow, very nice. Okay, beautiful. Let's continue that. Now I think this might end up being a very wide opening range here because we were looking at the previous high, right? Previous day's high. We said, hey, you know what? This thing is going to break above the previous day's high. We want to be in on that. And we took a small gamble. And it looks like it's working out nicely. But the risk to reward was there, right? We had a small risk with a ton of asymmetrical leverage, right? There. I think we definitely want to make that a target. With this type of momentum, it might even hit that second one, huh? Might even hit that second ADR checkpoint. Okay, looks like gold is pulling back. See how I just heard the little alarm go off there, right? So gold pulled back, right? Look at this. Look how nice of a hedge this was, right? If the Nasdaq completely reversed on us and started going down, we were in on gold and gold would have shot up. But because the Nasdaq is breaking to the upside, gold has that inverse relationship, right? And it's now breaking to the downside. So gold looks like it wants to make another move down. We can box out the market edge here. Let's do something like, let's take all three, right? Bottom of the candle, the bottom of the body of the candle is where I'm putting that top line, and the bottom of the wick on this candle here, right? So that might be another area of interest to buy gold, but we used it as a hedge. We used it as a hedge and looks like we're taking off, right? Right, very nice. So that's a good rule, I think, to add, to our opening range breakout strategy or toolbox, all-time high. When you have an all-time high on, the Nasdaq and you're starting to break above that all-time high, and look where we are. We're early in the trend, right? We're only in the second wave of this trend, making that big move up. And we started to break above here around 8 a.m. Eastern. And that's that's really close to the witching hour, right? That's really close to the 9:30 open. And we said, well, if that's the direction that this is going, and we had momentum on our side, right? 3 hour CCI, very strong, right? Broke above 200, cycling up on the 3 hour CCI, above 200 on the 1 hour chart, and above the 50 simple, right? Way above the 50 simple. So all of our components were met, and this started to break to the upside. And so we said, hey, let's get in on that. So as of right now, the opening range is that right there. Right, it's 943. We got in at the, just above the previous day's high. Otherwise, we'd be getting in. We'd wait for this to form. Oops. We'd be waiting for the opening range to form, and then we'd have to get in here, which is fine, right? That's the actual strategy. However, all-time high was right here on this red line, previous day's high. That is the all-time high. And I was watching the previous day's close. I was like, oh, maybe it's going to come down, hit that previous day's close. So it's worth it to, be in front of this a little bit early, right? A little earlier than 9:30, just to see what's going on. ATR was up above.
No, the all-time high. I
Oh,
thought the
all-time
all-time
high.
high
Oh,
hit
oh,
about
all-time high.
22.7.
Oh, am I missing something? Let me see.
Well, I might be. I have it marked. And so I didn't know if I was missing a terminology.
All-time high. Isn't this the all-time high
No,
right
if
here?
you go to a month,
Oh,
like
really?
the
Oh,
individual
okay. So,
month,
oh, okay.
and we got a ways, I think. I mean, unless I'm missing
Let's go
something.
out to. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh my goodness, you're right. You are absolutely right. I was just looking at the 1 hour, and let's see, 3 hour. Let's just bring up the. I was looking at the 3 hour all-time high.
Yeah, yeah, that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yep. I was looking at the 3 hour all-time high. And if we go back, yep, you're 100% correct. You are 100% correct.
I just get obsessed with all those supply zones that,
Oh,
that
yeah, for
like a
sure.
block goes up above. Like, so, all right,
Absolutely. So,
I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy. That was all.
yeah, no, you're not crazy. No, I was just looking at in the context of the three time frames that I'm currently using here. That's what I saw there. So
Yeah.
so the high of the 3 hour chart would be more accurate to say the high of the 3 hour chart. We started breaking above that, and that's a pattern that we look for, right? And we can see that. Let's turn off the magnet all the way from back here, right? Right from here, pulls back into trend cloud, and then breaks that previous high. Boom, right there. And it looks like it kind of does a little dance back and forth, and does it again here, right? Here, breaks through that. That's the stuff that we look for. And then we were here, pulls back, come on, and then breaks above there. That was my thought process there. Looks like it's working nicely here. So, okay, so now we've got the opening range. Let's erase all of this. Now we've got the opening range formed, and our strategy says, and you see how it's 9:30, we formed the opening range, and it's kind of hovering towards the top of the opening range. We love that. That's a good indication that the breakout's going to take place to the upside, and that's what we want. When all of our conditions are met, the strategy wants price to break to the upside, and then it will take the trade. But if you've got all of this, like yesterday, we had all of this, but it formed in the other direction, right? It kind of started up here and then formed the full opening range and hovered around down here and then broke to the downside. So that's an observation that we've made as we've been doing this strategy together. And I think it's super important to look at that. Now, there's nothing we can do if this thing just decides to take a nosedive, right? There's nothing we can do. But being that the opening range candle formed in upward direction, right? Kind of hovered down here, 9:30 hit, and then we started to move up, form the full opening range, and now we're hanging out at the top of the opening range, sort of trying to make a decision as to when we want to break out. All right. That's a good sign. Price is in the area of the opening range that we really like to see it at before the breakout occurs. And again, as everything was forming, we saw the previous day's high and said, you know what? If it breaks through that previous day's high, let's take an early chance on it because the risk was very small, right? And there we go. All right. So yeah, so I would definitely commit that to memory and make a note that when you see the opening range form and price is sort of forming the opening range in an upward direction, and then you've got the candle hanging out up here waiting for the breakout, that's a good sign. If the opening range formed and the candle was hanging out down here, you've got less of a chance of it having a strong breakout because it's got to go from here all the way up to here. And that's when it usually goes boop, like breaks to the upside and then kind of goes sideways. And I think we're going to have quite a big day today in the market. I think we're going to have quite a big day. First ADR checkpoint there, we definitely want to take off one contract there and then we'll let it run. I'm not even sure if it's going to, right? Let's sell one. I don't even know if it's going to make it that far. We don't know, but we have to be ready for it. Front run that ADR checkpoint. Second one, right? Second one is up here. Don't know how far this is going to go. That's very ambitious, isn't it? These are very ambitious numbers, but with the way things are going, see how this candle right here closed just above that. That's a great sign, and now we're breaking to the upside. So very nice move. Just reading price action the best way we can, small risks, reading price action, and just making it as visual as possible on our charts. Just making everything as visual as possible on the charts. All right. We hedged ourselves on gold, and gold should be pulling back even more. Yeah. So the more the Nasdaq goes up, gold comes down because the people are putting their money into the indexes, right? They're putting their money into the S&P, they're putting it into the Nasdaq. So they're kind of selling gold and putting it into this commodity. How much gold do they sell? Well, we don't know, but we've got this market edge right here. Here's the market edge, right? It actually goes all the way back to there. We'll put a line, 1 hour market edge right there. Get rid of that. Yeah, that looks about right. That looks good. Maybe gold drops down. Maybe this is where gold wants to end today, right? Maybe it wants to pull back to the first ADR checkpoint, and that's when Nasdaq will start to slow down, perhaps. By the time Nasdaq gets to here, gold might be at its first ADR checkpoint, and it's just a good observation to make. Oh, I see what Seth is asking. All right. In the Facebook chat there. Seth will be joining us live as well.
Already in here.
Oh, he's in here. Where is he? There you are. Oh man, good to have you here, buddy. Good to have you
Thanks.
in here. So yeah, very interesting breakout, So even with the regular breakout strategy, it's working, right? All components are met. Very strong trend on the 1 hour chart, way above. CCI is way above 200. And we've got the same thing going on the 3 hour chart. CCI, again, broke above 200, pulls back into that little blue shaded area. We just require it to be above the zero line, and we are cycling up. This is very powerful. That CCI momentum on the 3 hour combined with the cycle, right? That impulse phase. We're now in the impulse phase. Together, that's just very powerful stuff. 1 hour trend is up very strong and breaking out to the upside. That's what we look for, right? That's exactly what we look for there. So yeah, want to stick to the strategy as closely as possible because it works, right? We know it works very well. Has, we're just about like 70%, accuracy, win rate, I should say, and outperforming buy and hold, right? It's when we try and deviate from it too much, that's when things start to go south and we kind of get chopped a little bit going after those like bull and bear traps. we have all components met to the upside, and yet it, kind of breaks to the downside, and we start looking for those bear traps. That that kind of works like 40% of the time. So it still works, and it would be huge if it worked, right? Because you're in early, but man, it just doesn't give us the win rate that we really like. So it's kind of good to just kind of hang back, wait for the breakout to take place, or you start seeing that breakout of the previous day's high kind of early. You can take a small chance on it. You can take a small chance on it. So the actual strategy itself working out very nicely, and we can scale out of that position. Yeah, I think what Kazi was saying in Top Step is you can't set your entry price and target all at once. You have to set the entry, I think, and then once you're in the trade, then you can put your brackets. You have to be in the trade first.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you can do a buy stop order either.
Oh, really?
It,
You have to enter the trade
it's got
and
to
then
it's got to be a limit or a market. Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, so yeah, so you've got to be in the trade first and then you can put your stop order.
There is
Well,
an option for a
like
buy
in
stop. It's in the it's called stop market, and then you just have to do either choose buy or sell.
isn't that different
Ah,
than a stop limit order though?
No, it's a stop market, and then you just choose buy, so it will be like buy stop market. And if you do like stop market and then sell, so it will be like a sell stop market.
and those
Right,
are
but
two.
what? No, I'm talking before I ever get in the trade. Like with TradingView or whoever else, you can do a stop limit order to where like if price is above where right now and I want to buy, I can
Yes,
actually
that would
place
be
the
the
order.
stop market. So what happens is that let's say if you want to buy a breakout, so you will put like
Uh,
a stop market order right above, and then you're gonna choose buy.
okay, so they
Yeah,
just call it a little bit different. Okay,
and this is a little bit different.
gotcha. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting, guys. I would love to record that. I'm working on a couple of other things. I want to do that as well. I've recorded every day. I think there were 19 days in the last competition, and that's inside of the Trend Cloud membership area on the where the course is, where all the courses are, the modules. It's on there. So we've recorded every single day, and even during the competition, the the breakout strategy, sticking close to it, that that made us over, I think, $32,000 or something like that. And then on any of the traps, like the bear trap or the bull trap, those trades failed. So that was just an interesting observation. So especially in the room here, I'm going to stick to the breakout strategy as closely as possible, because when new people come in, I kind of want to push them in that direction. One strategy, one instrument, and let's start to refine it and make observations and really become experts, at the NASDAQ and the opening range. Just like the observation we made today, as the opening range was forming, price was hovering in this area here and then broke out. And we've noticed, I think yesterday is when, yeah, here's yesterday. The opening range hung out here and it formed on the down candle, right? And then price kind of hung out in this area and boom. So it's kind of like if price is hanging out within the bottom 25% or so of the candle, it actually came back 50%, but it most likely going to break out here, broke out to the downside. And this just took forever, man. It's just back and forth. So best to stick to the strategy. Just an observation that we made there. And the strongest breakouts don't usually retest, that I made that observation a while ago. Like I think Taylor Frame, we were doing watching the opening range in one of the OTA rooms, and he likes to teach the retest of the opening range. But when I back tested, and I manually back tested the opening range on the NASDAQ, and I said to myself, well, look at how the strongest moves on the breakout never retested. And I was like, well, I want to go for the strongest moves. I don't want to go for, like, oh, it pulled, retested, and then went a little bit, and that was the end of it. I want I want to focus on the strongest moves, you know? And then I started to learn more about Pine Script and programming and this beautiful thing down here, the strategy tester. And then here we go. Here we are. Let's see. All right. So when should we get risk free? I mean, $546. My God. If we go break even, right? If we go break even right now, it is what it is, right? I mean, if this thing pulls back and retests really deep, we're out. And that would really suck. But, you know, again, strongest moves break out and don't retest. And if it's going to retest, we kind of want it to just touch the top part here of the opening range and continue. There's no way of telling. And that's the big question we have to ask ourselves, right? Being that we've got such strong trend and momentum, if it pulls back into this demand zone, because this is a demand zone now, rally base, right? Rally base rally. You have to understand that this right here could be retested. Ah, okay. Nice. Okay, Phyllis, I see that. Seth, you just took profit. Very nice. Phyllis is saying it's entering the previous supply zone now, taking some profit. Okay, excellent. Very good. I'm going to follow sell one. I'm going to follow it just like this. Very nice. Nice, guys. Nice. Kazi too. Okay. Took one off. Stop loss below the 5-minute zone right there. There you go. Here's what Kazi's doing right here. Like that. Very nice. Follow it up. Follow it up on the 5-minute. Lock in as much as we can. Out. Nice. All right. Excellent, man. Very good. I like the clap. Clapping hands. Do some clapping hands. Have a great day, Kazi. Awesome job, buddy. Helps to have all eyes on the risk management part of all of this. Yeah, first ADR checkpoint. I think so too, Seth. I think so. I have sort of the full exit at the second ADR checkpoint. First ADR checkpoint right there, of course. And we'll follow it up on those 5-minute candles. Another 33 seconds. I'll keep it right below this candle. Maybe the next one hits the first ADR checkpoint. That'll be great. We just bracketed that 5-minute candle with the first ADR checkpoint there. And our little marathon runner here had a good night's sleep, and he's just running towards that average daily range. And that's when we might start to see him take a little breather. We just don't know when. And that's okay. You don't have to know. Locking in the profits as much as possible there. And Phyllis said that we are in the, you know, that high time frame. Open up the high time frame here. Recalculate. And let's just take a look here. Go out to the 4-hour. Yep, there's another. Right, there's some structure here. Daily drop base drop on the daily. Let's box it out. Hit the magnet. Let's right. Look at that. We are heading for that. And then we've got this drop base drop here as well. Right, so we're breaking through that, heading for the second one. Let's see if that's in line with, go back to the 3-hour. Yeah, so this ADR is right in line with that first drop base drop. And up here is the second drop base drop. And that's what we've got. So yeah, 100%. Yeah, we are in that very first drop base drop on the daily chart, right? Here's the daily drop base drop. We're at the very top of it, heading towards this drop base drop. Here's that resistance point. Here's the top of this daily candle right here. Right at that second ADR checkpoint. It's right at the top of that candle. I think we have a very good chance of hitting that. Really want that first ADR checkpoint. And then I will cancel this order right here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, go back to the 15. That's what we're looking at here. Just managing the risk. Just managing the risk. We're risk-free. I really don't want a retest. I'm going to lock in some more for sure. Do not want to retest at this point. 5-minute. Yep. 7 seconds left. Let's move this up a little bit more. Follow those 5-minute candles. We can only take what the market gives us, right? We can only take what the market gives us. We want this. We want this. I know. So close. We don't know, Seth. We don't know. We can only set the targets. That's always the question, right? Should I get out now? Should I wait? The only thing you can do is lock in the target. If you're, following it up on I'm following it up on the 5-minute candle, and that's all I'll get. If it pulls back, I know you got one contract left, I think. Or if you've got, one contract, there's a really good chance that it's going to hit this ADR. Otherwise, I put it right below that 5-minute candle and just have patience with it. Definitely be risk-free somewhere. I don't want to retest at this point in the day. Do not want to retest. I don't want to lock in, I want to, lock in as much profit as possible if it does happen to pull back. So that's below that candle. I'll put it below that 5-minute candle. I mean, you just got to lock in as much profit as possible because it is a day trade. Oh man, we're almost there, buddy. Look at that. Kind of looked like it hit and didn't. There we go. Beautiful. All right, very nice. Now I can get rid of this. Okay, and we can use the stop loss here. Now we have to go below this candle here. Aren't you glad you stayed in, buddy? Not a bad day. Oh, wow. First day in Top Step. Using the breakout. Using the trend cloud breakout strategy. First day in Top Step. Beautiful. Beautiful, Seth. Fantastic. First day in Top Step and first day in the live room. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So we're all in, risk-free trade here. And, will it hit that ADR? No, don't know. We've seen that happen. We've seen that happen plenty of times. You got it, buddy. Have a good day. Have a good day, Seth. Great job. Seth Walter, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. It's all about making it visual, right? Just all about making everything as visual as possible. Where are we on the map? Oh, look at that. 5-minute chart has now become extended. Okay, so count the waves. 1, 2 waves in an average trend, pull back 6, boom, 7th wave up. We are in the 7th wave up of this. We are in the 7th wave up, guys. So I definitely want to lock in as much profits as possible, right? Definitely want to lock in as much as possible. Put it right at the bottom there. Super tempted to kind of take both right there. First ADR checkpoint, 5-minute chart is extended. How much further is this going to go? Gosh, I don't know. I do not know. Extended trend there. ADR checkpoints work so well for targets. Again, this is a day trade. Seth is saying in the Facebook chat, he's loving the 2-contract strategy, taking off at 1-to-1, letting the other one run. Yeah, it's easier. It's so much easier, right? So much easier to trade multiple contracts rather than just one contract at a time. Oh my gosh, it's just so much better because you can scale out of the position. You can scale out of the position, right? Think it looks like we might lock in that 393 there, and we'll go take a look. We'll go take a look at this big win. Again, guys, this is a day trade, right? So we want to be in and out. We take as much as the market gives us. We can't swing trade. You can't swing trade inside of Top Step or the majority of the prop trading firms anyway. So this strategy works very well for prop trading firms as well. And for you guys on the West Coast, right? You guys are on the West Coast. You can trade this strategy before work. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Another 2 minutes left. Maybe it gives us that second shot at that ADR checkpoint there, or will it pull back? Let's see. Let's see what it wants to do. But it's great being in the live room, having 10 eyeballs on something rather than just yours, when you've got a group. And they do that in hedge funds all the time. Financial firms, they're all talking to each other. These guys are all talking to each other. Very nice. I've got to get my camera working again. Wow, it's just hovering right there. Let's see if gold hit. Yes, look at that. Gold pulled back and hit that demand zone that we drew out. Go back to the 15-minute. Well, looky there. Here's your low, higher low than this, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low. Pulled back. Gold is starting to rally off that previous day's close. And did it hit AD? It's ADR? No, it's first ADR checkpoint all the way down here. Okay. Great. Awesome. You got it, Phyllis. My pleasure. All right. Me and Eddie hanging out, waiting for that. Wow. God, I really want to do this. I really want to do that and just bring this right below that 5-minute candle. Screw it. Going for it. Or 15-minute candle. Remember, you're always going to be partially correct. We're not always 100% correct all the time, but we're usually partially correct, especially if you're following a strategy and a back-tested strategy, right? Let me just bring that up real quick for new people. Let me just go real quick into the continuous contract, MNQ. Let me go to this is the continuous contract right here. And let me just show you on the 15-minute chart, put your breakout strategy, trend cloud opening range breakout strategy, put that on the chart, and let's go back like 8 months or so. This is 8 months of the strategy, right? 68% win rate, profit factor, very nice. Outperforming buy and hold, right? 16% drawdown, but the drawdown compared to the profit, very big, right? Started with a $10,000 account, and that's what, 8 months or so, over 25,000. Okay, 129.90% profit. There's your profit right there. So when you back test a strategy, that's what you're looking for, right? And you have to back test the strategy on the continuous contract. All right. So let's go back to just wanted to show you that's why we're so confident with our strategy, because of those numbers. And that's what you have to do. So there we go. I'm there hanging out below this 15-minute candle. If that candle reverses, hey, we lock in 379. But this is how we won, this is how we win the day trading competitions. This is how we grow the small account from $500 to $5,000. We're almost the small account challenge. If we go in, yeah, we're almost at 5. We've made it actually, right? This is 3.5 weeks. That's 3.5 weeks. I think we started account history. Open it up. Okay. When's the first trade? March 13th was the first trade. Right, 500 and this is even deviating from the strategy very slightly, right? We took a few bear traps. Those bull and bear traps, they don't work out too well for us. The bull and bear traps, but look at the reward and look at the loss, right? $86 loss, 471 win. A 199 loss, 705 win. $62 loss, 670 win. Okay, those are the numbers that you want to. Those are the numbers you want to see. All right, so $500 challenge, very nice. Yes, it's in the simulator, but we also do it live in the AMP account. Okay, and it's very difficult, right? Growing a $500 account, very, very difficult. It's easier to grow an account. Okay, we're pulling back here. We're probably going to be completely out of this trade. Hang on, come on, hang on. Okay, great day today, guys. Great, fantastic day today. Let's check it out. Did we do it? Hey, we did it. We're there. We hit our goal, right? 500 to 5,000 in just about three months there, right? We are at May 13th, right? We started March 13th. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. March, April, May. Today is May 13th. That's so funny. And we started March 13th. So we started March 13th. $500 challenge using the opening range breakout strategy and the gold strategy. This is mostly NASDAQ opening range breakout strategy. And today, May 13th, we just broke 5 grand. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's what we want to do. You got it, Eddie. Have a great day, buddy. Great job. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everyone. And now it goes. And now it's starting to hit. Oh my God. Story of my life. But that's okay.